So I want you to understand that whatever you do in your kitchen and whatever works for you, go with it. Experiment. Don't be afraid. Um, I'm going to pour off this hooch a minute here. And this is another subject that people ask about all the time. See this liquid in here? That's called hooch. And I'm going to pour it off, and I'm going to pour it into my sink drain. None of the sourdough is coming off. It's just hooch. There we go. And now I'm just back down to my discard. There you go. You can see it there. And then I was just looking at Ophelia, and I worked her the other day and made some 2 Pullman bread loaves. So this is kind of what she looks like right now. You see, there's a lot of gluten structure in there. She's really ready to go. But I am going to feed her, and I'm going to let her come up again because she has fallen, as you can see by the rubber band in my container. So, again, this is being intentional with your bread making, sourdough bread making. And so I'm going to go over to my tap. Yes, I use tap water. Another controversy. People say that you should be using bottled water. And I guess it all depends on where you live, what you use. But I use my tap water. And I use lukewarm. And I mean, when I say lukewarm, it's probably more luke than it is warm. Simply because I don't want to knock down the bacteria that I've created in my sourdough starter. So, and all that I'm going to do is put this under the tap. Here's my vessel. You can hear the water running. I can give you a little shot here. Just going to put some water in there. And that's what it looks like right now. And then I'm going to go back over to where my products are. And I'm going to feed Ophelia. And another thing that a lot of people don't talk about, a lot of people don't share, is how do you store your products? Well, this is kind of how I have mine set up. This whole cupboard here for me, and I have a micro tiny kitchen. This whole cupboard here is all supplies for Ophelia. I have 2 that are flour, and then I have regular sugar, and then obviously I have my salt and my avocado oil, and I also have over here in this other cupboard, I have extra virgin olive oil. I have my containers that I use when I'm doing a lot of baking to put my dough into so it can rise to double. And these are wonderful, wonderful if you're doing bulk sourdough making. And then obviously I have a whole bunch of mini bowls. I do not use these very often, and I kind of regret that I purchased them, but they're a little bit too small. So I suppose if you were doing a treat or something, that would be a way to go, but I don't use them a lot. So okay, we've got our water in Ophelia. She's pretty wet right now. She's saying, what are we doing here? And I'm getting my flour out. This is my flour. And because I don't want to dump a whole bunch, I'm going to use a measuring cup, but I'm not going to tell you which measuring cup I'm using because I don't measure my ingredients. I don't weigh my ingredients. The only time that I weigh is when I am mixing my sourdough starter to make something. If it's a bagel recipe, if it's a sourdough loaf, that's the only time that I use a weigh. So let's add this in. And the consistency that I'm looking for is pancake batter. I want my sourdough to be about the consistency of pancake batter. So you can see here, I like to use my spatula, made the Tupperware spatula, because I can scrape down the sides and it doesn't stick a lot to my spatula. So I'm just mixing this up. And it looks like my I'm a little bit wet. I'm just a touch wet. I want this to be a little bit thicker. That's how I like to bake, and that is what Ophelia likes. She is a hungry girl that likes to eat. So, just mixing this up real well, and be sure to scrape the bottom of your vessel. Whatever you're using, be sure to get down there. Get down there and scrape it all so that you have everything incorporated. Your flour and your water. I'm going to put a little bit more in because she's a little bit wet. There we go. Just getting this thick. So what happens is, if you don't understand, which I'm sure a lot of you do understand, but what happens is your sourdough that you've had in the refrigerator sitting, it's hungry. The bacteria that you form by developing your sourdough is all in that, and it's perfectly fine leaving it in the refrigerator. But when you bring it out, it's hungry. It wants to eat. Those bacteria that you've created by making your sourdough starter want to eat. And so where did they get their food from? They get it, I'm going to put a little bit more in. It's just about there. Where do they get that? They get it from the flour. The flour is their food. So, and when it comes to flour, I use all-purpose flour. And that, again, is another controversial thing with a lot of people. A lot of people say, oh, you got to use King Arthur flour. Oh, you got to use whatever, you got to mill your own flour so that you have a true grain flour. And that's all fine. If that's what, again, if that's what works for you, then go with it. Go with it. And if that makes your bread, if it sets it aside from anyone else's, I think that's kind of what we all want to do, is we want to all have our own authentic product that is ours. And this is my product. This is Ophelia. Ophelia, I've been doing this now, mind you, just for a year. Just a little over a year. It's probably been a year and like 4 months now. But I started out just like all of you. I started out watching all these things, seeing all the you gotta do, and then getting so defeated when it didn't work and I didn't understand why. And it didn't finally make itself known to me until I started experimenting. So let's get her. So, Ophelia is fed.